This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets. U.S. crude stocks and gasoline inventories rose last week as refiners undergoing seasonal maintenance restarted units more slowly than expected to avoid even larger gasoline stock builds, the Energy Information Administration said on Wednesday. Refinery crude runs rose by only 62,000 barrels per day in the last week, the AS said, and refinery utilization rates fell by 0.2 percentage point in the week. On occasion, crude inputs rise despite utilization falling as refiners cut back on processing other feeds. Despite lower utilization, U.S. gasoline stocks rose by 0.1 million barrels in the week to 223.5 million barrels, the AS said, compared with analysts' expectations in a Reuters poll for a 0.8 million barrel drop.
Oil gained more than 1% on Thursday to snap its three-day decline, as risk appetite returned to financial markets after the U.S. Federal Reserve kept benchmark interest rates on hold. Brent crude futures rose 89 cents, or 1.1%, to $85.52 a barrel by 0324 GMT, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures advanced 91 cents, also 1.1%, to $81.35 a barrel. Both benchmarks settled at their multi-week lows in the previous session. Oil's rally comes along with gains across financial assets after the Fed maintained its benchmark interest rate unchanged at 5.25% minus 5.50% at its latest meeting on Wednesday.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
The European Union, United States and the United Arab Emirates COP28 climate summit hosts are rallying other governments to join a global deal to triple renewable energy this decade at the upcoming summit. Documents shared with Reuters showed. The countries are working to recruit others to sign the pledge ahead of this year's annual UN climate negotiations, which take place from November 30th to December 12th in Dubai, with a likely launch event at a gathering of world leaders at the start of the summit. In a draft letter being sent to other governments, the countries said tripling the world's renewable energy capacity, to have 11,000 gigawatts installed by 2030, is the most important thing they can do to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius.
The United States' goal of rapidly ramping up production of sustainable aviation fuel, SAF, may encounter strong headwinds as producers balk at the low margins for the biofuel, and some airlines flag concerns over the costly switch, experts said. President Joe Biden, who has made tackling climate change a central pillar of his administration, launched a challenge in 2021 to supply at least 3 billion gallons of SAF annually by 2030, a steep jump from the current 15.8 million gallons as per U.S. government data. U.S. production of SAF will be 2.1 billion gallons by 2030, S&P Global Commodity Insights has estimated, based on upcoming projects.
Next, we have the top news in metal markets.
Gold prices will rise in 2024 from this year's average on bets that global central banks would start monetary policy easing and after the Middle East conflict provided a boost to gold's safe haven rally above $2,000, a Reuters poll showed on Wednesday. The poll of 30 analysts and traders conducted in October returned a median forecast for gold at $1,986.50 a troy ounce for 2024, up from $1,925 expected this year. Respondents have slightly lowered forecasts since July, when a similar poll predicted gold to average $1,988 per ounce in 2024 and $1,944.50 in 2023.
Iron ore extended gains for a second consecutive session on Thursday on persistent support from fundamentals, but the momentum slowed as traders pondered downside risks from possibly falling demand in top consumer China. The most traded January iron ore on China's Dalian Commodity Exchange, DCE, rose 0.99% to 921 yuan, $125.85, a metric ton, as of 0244 GMT, following a rise of 2.51% a day before. The benchmark December iron ore on the Singapore exchange was 0.14% higher at $121.65 a ton, as of 0300 GMT. We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector. Indonesia will continue its domestic market obligation, DMO, for palm oil into 2024 to maintain price stability of cooking oil, Trade Ministry official Izzy Karim said on Thursday. Indonesia, the world's biggest palm oil producer, imposed the DMO policy last year to rein in soaring prices of cooking oil. Under the scheme, producers are only allowed to export once they have sold a portion of their products to the domestic market. The ratio of exports to domestic sales will also be maintained at the current level, where palm oil companies are allowed to export 4 times the volume they have sold through the DMO mechanism, Izzy told an industry conference in Indonesia's Bali Island.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.